And welcome to another edition of The Way I See It. Tonight, we're having a very special 90-minute edition of The Way I See It. And the reason for that tonight is I have some very special topics that we're going to talk about tonight. And this program is going to be real epic tonight. And what I mean by epic is it's going to be nothing like I've ever done before here on The Way I See It. I am going to attack topics that no one else has been able to attack. All right? And I'm going to delve into a few things. Some almighty people here that no one ever wants to go after, that no one ever wants to talk about. They keep it a secret because they know their butt's on the line. Okay? So what do you do in this case? I'll tell you what you do. You report it anyway. I don't work for any radio station in this town, not yet anyway. And I don't think I ever am going to, because if you read one of my Facebook posts recently, I'm Pittsburgh's forgotten son. I've lived in this town my entire life. Grew up here too. Okay? All I'm asking for is an opportunity to put my shows on, or to be on a couple different talk shows here and there on some of these local stations. You got one talk show host who's on from 9 to noon. He talks about helping people, but he's never returned my phone calls when I needed his help. Okay? And all he talks about is Ukraine. I got some phone calls from a couple buddies of mine in the media. They said, you know something, they were just recently at a celebrity golf tournament. And what they said was pretty interesting, and that is that this person stinks on the radio. And they wanted to know why I wasn't on the radio. Why? Well, you know what? I don't have that answer. And none of the media bosses will come on and tell me that answer. All right? Are they afraid of me? What's the problem? I don't see it. I don't know. All right? First, we're going to start off tonight with our Chinese wisdom. Man's mind. Now, look, man's mind, once stretched by a new idea, never regains its original dimensions. So there you go. That is tonight's Chinese wisdom. It's a great night tonight. It's Friday. It's beautiful outside. It's 80 degrees. I know you're probably out with your family, but you know what? That's what's in the power of YouTube and Facebook. You can take it with you. So I know you're out there watching tonight. Your comments are always welcome on the comments section here, as always. Of course, that is always the case in every show. Your comments are always welcome. So if you want to comment, you're welcome to do it right here, right now. If not, don't worry about it. I'm not going to beat you up. Okay? So anyway, tonight we're going to get started with Blast. As you know, I canceled my Sunday shows. You know, it says in the Bible that Sunday's supposed to be a day of rest. Well, you know what? I can rest on Sundays anytime I want. So guess what? That's exactly what I'm going to do now, is rest on Sundays, okay? All right, Blast is brought to you by DJ Fun. Tonight, DJ Fun is our sponsor on our program tonight. DJ Fun, call DJ Fun today if you need a part. I tell you what, graduation parties are coming. I know all you mothers out there are looking for DJs, and you have DJs out there that have only been DJing 6 months, and they're charging you $2,000. Well, not DJ Fun. Call him immediately. 412-545-4317. Well over 10 years of experience in DJing. He does parties, weddings, and special events. So give him a call today, DJ Fun, at 412-545-4317. And that is the sponsor of tonight's Blast portion, Joe Biden. You know what? I'm going to blast Joe Biden tonight because I'm getting a little disgusted with the way he continues to give money to Ukraine. Okay, Joe, I know you've given a lot of money here. I know you're releasing oil here. Okay? Later on, we're going to talk about something interesting, and we're going to talk about that later. And it's a very interesting topic that no one ever attacks. But I'm very frustrated with our president right now because he continues to give money to Ukraine Okay? We have problems here, Joe, in this country. All right? And I know your infrastructure package is out there. Money has come from the American Rescue Plan. I understand that, Joe. But you have an inflation problem. You have people out here that don't want to work. You have people out here that are trying to scam an unemployment and trying to do different things to try to keep from working. Why don't you go after those people and get some people out working? Working. Okay, Joe? That's what the major problem is right now, is working. We have a lazy society, Joe. Quit worrying about Ukraine. Go out, handle the lazy society. All right? Go out there and get that handled and stop worrying about Ukraine. Ukraine can handle themselves. And that's a simple fact right there. Okay? And that's the bottom line right there. Ukraine can handle themselves. And let me ask you this too, Joe Biden, and as I blast you tonight. What has these other NATO countries done for this country? You want to know what they've done? Zero. Goose egg. Have they put any financing into this war? No. Oh, they put troops at the border, all right, that are doing nothing to help the war. They want us to do it. But, of course, we can't do it because good old World War III will start. All right? All right. Comment section here. Juana, why is Joe Biden giving money to the Ukraine when we need the money here? That's a good question, Juana. You know, I've been asking that question for a while, and it's time that, excuse me, I have a little scratch in my throat. It's time that I haul Joe Biden to the carpet. And that's one of my blasts tonight. Next blast. The 6th Street businesses downtown complaining about business. You know something? When COVID was here, you didn't say nothing. You did nothing. You are nothing. Okay? The simple fact of the matter is, a lot of the businesses in this town did nothing to help themselves when COVID was there. Now, all of a sudden, you're complaining about a little bit of construction. Oh, that's going to hurt my business because the Clemente Bridge is closed already. It's closed. All right? And the people can't walk over the bridge, so they're not going to eat downtown. They're going to take the T or they're going to drive their car over to PNC Park or wherever they're going to go, and they're going to eat at the North Shore establishments and forget about you. That's not the case. All right? Stop complaining. I don't want to hear no more complaining from restaurants about anything. Because you know what? You did it to yourself. All right? You made the bed, you lie in it. I try to help you. You didn't support me. You didn't thank me. You didn't do anything. I tried. I tried to get you fired up, pumped up, go after the governor, go against him, go do what you needed to do. If every business in Allegheny County would have pitched in $10, you could have went out and got yourself a high-priced lawyer to go after the governor. Okay? And you could have done something, but you did nothing. And this is another reason why we live in a nothing society. All right, next. The Pittsburgh Public Schools. Listen to what I'm telling you here, everybody. And everybody that has a child in the Pittsburgh Public Schools or is an alum like myself, all right, you have to be frustrated with what has gone on right now, that has gone on with the Pittsburgh Public Schools. Now, the school board wants to spend $200,000. Now, do you hear what I said? $200,000 on getting a consulting firm to go help them find a nationwide search for a superintendent. Okay, let me ask you something, Pittsburgh Public Schools. What happened the last time you went out and looked for a guy? Every outside person that you brought in here in the last 10 years, has that person ever done any good? No. John Thompson was a thief. Okay? Mark Benedict was bad. All right? And the last guy that was here was bad as well and stole. That's your track record of somebody you brought in from out of town to be a superintendent. The last superintendent you hired from within was Linda Lane. Linda Lane was not a bad superintendent. Now you got Wayne Walters. He's the assistant superintendent. He knows his way around. He's been a principal. He's been an administrator. He's been in the system for over 30 years. And this is what thanks you give him? And you want to spend $200,000 of tax money, of wasteful spending, to go out and look for a superintendent when you have a man right at your fingertips. What's wrong with you, Pittsburgh Public School Board? What is wrong with you? Do you remember what happened the other day at Perry High School? That poor kid got beat up. Instead of worrying about a consulting firm to help you look for a superintendent, why not hire Wayne Walters as the superintendent and start working on security in the schools for next season? Because now it's getting out of control in these schools. All right? It's really sad. And guess what? It's nothing again. And tonight, that's the way I see it. Money that's going to Ukraine needs to go to medical care. Yes, it does. Juana, thank you. And also, Juana says she's been paying medical bills because they have cut back on what insurance companies give us or is giving us care. Absolutely. And you know what, Juana? Thank you tonight for these comments, because this is going to lead into our topic later on. The key topic of later on tonight. That's why we're here tonight for 90 minutes. Because I have a lot to say. And not only do I have a lot to say, I have a lot that you need to know about a certain company. Well, you might as well say they are a company. That is supposed to be the greatest company of all. And they're not. And I'll explain it to you later on. All right? Bonehead. Bonehead is the new businesses that are opening up downtown. Why would you ever, in reality right now, open up a business? Why? Don't you realize what you're getting yourself into right now? It's just like, why would you buy a house right now? Why would you invest in a loan or get into a loan right now? That's who the boneheads are. The ones who are going to open up new businesses downtown and expect to make a profit. Do you know that the people of downtown have just started coming back downtown? Probably not. Did you do your homework on the fact that, oh, wait a minute, I'm sorry. We got all these $2,000 a month apartments and condos and expensive luxury hotels that are going to be downtown for all of us to enjoy. Not. All right? So go ahead, open up a business. People aren't spending like they used to. People aren't renting high rent apartments like they used to either. You know why? Because nobody has the money like they used to. Everybody's afraid. Everybody's scared. Everybody's lazy. And everybody is nothing. Not everybody, but the majority of this country, the society we live in today, the majority of it is the three things I just said. And I have been saying about that for a long, long time. It's not anything that's old. All right? The bottom line is, I hear from a few people, but I don't hear from everybody that watches this program. So I don't know what you're thinking. Okay? All right, next. Something to think about. All right? And I want to give you this. I want to give you something to think about tonight. Okay? Let's say, for instance, you were involved, you're driving out there, and somebody cuts in front of you for no reason at all. And they get stuck at the red light. And you're saying to yourself, well, why in the world would you do that? Okay? Because we live in a society today that everybody's in a hurry to get nowhere. All right? And I don't want these comments from people who are saying, well, Ralph, you don't know how to drive. I don't know how to drive, huh? Let me tell you something. I drove a cab for 15 years. I drove a Port Authority bus. I drove a school bus. I drove a 60-foot Port Authority bus. So don't you dare sit there and say, I don't know how to drive. Just like all you people out there who get mad at me because I call you lazy. Well, you know what? You are. You know who you are. You must really know who you are when you're challenging me. Let me tell you something. I can't work. I'm on disability. I cannot work. All right? I have health issues. I cannot work. But I know most of you can. Some of you out there. So don't you dare criticize me for trying to say it's time to go to work. And it is. Get your finger off the Xbox, or your hand off the Xbox, your fingers off the Xbox. All right? Put the TV remote down. And get out there and do something. That's why we have the problems we have in business today. There's jobs out there, but nobody wants to work. You want to know something interesting? And this is going to be part of my life story. In fact, I'll get my life story started right now. As you know, I always share things with you about the course of my week or the course of my days, leading up to the show. Okay? So I have a lot to say today about my life story, which is another reason why we're doing this for an hour and a half tonight. But we're doing this for an hour and a half tonight because next Friday, I am not going to be able to put the show on next Friday because I will be focusing on my wedding. My fiance Rhonda and I are getting married next Saturday on the 21st. And we have our rehearsal on Friday, and we're putting last minute stuff together for the wedding. So I will not be on the air here for the way I see it. That is another reason why we're on for an hour and a half tonight. Okay? So anyway, I want to give you something to think about again. Not just one issue tonight, but two. Let's say if Trump was still president tonight, before we get into my life story. You think this economy would be better? Do you think he would calm Putin down to stop bombing Ukraine? I know we wouldn't be in NATO. And you know what? Trump was right. I'm not saying I'm a fan of Donald Trump. Okay? I have nothing against the man. He did what he could as president. But I don't like a president who goes in front of the public and acts like a third grader. That's what I have a problem with. I don't want my president acting like a third grader. But it's okay. Everybody loves it because he says what he wants. That's fine. But I don't want him acting like a third grader. But what are your thoughts on that tonight? I'm giving you something to think about again. That's two things tonight. What happens if you're out there driving and somebody jumps in front of you and almost causes an accident? What's your thought process? And the majority of these people are on cell phones. Isn't that wonderful, huh? So, tonight, you have two topics, something to think about. And I brought that topic, or that segment back to this show tonight. I want to introduce you to Wednesday nights, 10:30 p.m. I will be on the sports web show every Wednesday night at 10:30 with Peter Blake to talk wrestling, and Mark Mancini, who is my partner on my Thursday night national show that we do very well, that has gained a big audience on Blog Talk Radio. Interesting, isn't it? I'm the underdog. I'm the forgotten son of the Pittsburgh media. But here I am. And I'm national. And some people are not. especially some of you guys out there that think you're above everybody else, and you're not. You have a horrible voice. You have a, you talk like your nose is stuffed with something, or you got marbles in your mouth. But you got a media job in this town, and I can't get one. Isn't that interesting? Tonight, and I'm not going to say what station it is. I was listening to a radio station tonight, some music. You know, sometimes I get tired of the same old, same old. So I decided to listen to a variety of music on the radio tonight. I have satellite radio in my Jeep too. But anyway, I was listening to the radio tonight, and this guy, he was stuttering on his words, couldn't even get them out, and was talking like he had marbles in his mouth. Is that what you want on the radio? Is that what you want to listen to? Or you just don't care? All right. But that's beside the point. All right. It says no one has all that money to spend now because of this inflation that we are going through. And that's comments on the comments section. Your comments are welcome as well. I thank Juana for hers. Anybody else have any comments? You're welcome to put them here on the comments section on the way I see it. I am Ralph Williams. We're here in 808 Studios in Allentown, section of the city of Pittsburgh. We're in Studio B again tonight. I've been doing, we haven't been in Studio A. I've been doing some, what they call sort of remodeling a little bit, fixing things up, getting the studio up in order. So it is a Studio A. All right. So that's why we're in Studio B tonight here at 808 Studios in Allentown. All right. Now let's get to life story tonight, okay? I was at church this Sunday, and here's an interesting scenario here. There's this woman that goes to our church. I'm not going to mention her name, all right? Our church, and, it's the Lord says do for people, and I understand that. But this woman comes to our church, and she takes advantage of the church. She doesn't do anything to help, okay? She doesn't do anything to give back to the church, all right? But the church continues to give to this woman. She shows up at church on Sunday. She comes in, and my mother and my soon-to-be wife, Rhonda, and myself, we do fellowship for the church, and I'm a deacon, okay? So we like to put out some of the stuff early, just before church ends. Well, unfortunately, she shows up here, and she only shows up for free food. She don't do anything for the church at all. She's always crying she needs something. And again, does nothing. Now, we had this special event we were doing, and I went and I helped pack bags for the homeless. And I enjoy that, giving out bags to the homeless. I don't give homeless people money. I give them grooming bags with socks, toothbrush, deodorant, stuff like that. And it makes me feel good that I'm doing something for the homeless. I won't give them money because some of the homeless are junkies. You know that, and I know that. We're going to talk later on about that too, about downtown and the homeless. That's why this show's an hour and a half tonight. I have a lot to give you tonight. So I hope you have your cup of coffee or whatever it is you're drinking and a nice little snack if you're done eating dinner or whatever, and or you got SmackDown on and you could kind of watch that and watch me at the same time or whatever it is you're doing. I'm sure you can multitask. A lot of people can. But getting back to this, excuse me, I was sitting in church, and my mom and I were sitting, and my fiance were sitting in the fellowship hall during church because we were finishing setting up fellowship. And this woman, the woman I was telling you about, she comes in, she sits down. So to make a long story short, church is over. We're walking out to go to the Jeep, to my Jeep. Here she comes right behind us. You want to know what she said to me? You talking about me behind my back? You know, we're all adults here. Why can't we just talk it out right now? I said, let me tell you something. If I have something to tell you, I'll tell you right to your face. Okay? And this woman should know that because that's just the way I am. I don't talk about people behind their back, nor do I ever intend to. I wouldn't want that to happen to me. See, I have what they call that kind of consideration to the fact that I wouldn't want it to happen to me. So I don't do it to other people. But there are people out there that don't take a look in the mirror at themselves and say, am I hurting somebody by doing something like that? So she comes out and she insults me and my mom and my fiance. She comes running out the door. So she turns around and walks away. And I felt kind of insulted by that because I didn't appreciate the way she said that. I wasn't talking about her behind her back. In fact, as I said before, those of you who know me out there know, if I have something to say, I'll tell you right to your face. Because that's the way I am. And that's the way I'll always be. And I'll tell you about it right here on this microphone. Why? Because that's the way I am. Okay? And some of you don't like it, and that's too bad. All right? But anyway, that was part of my life story this week. And then I want to talk a little bit about the dollar quarter tree. Because it's not the Dollar Tree anymore. Nothing's a dollar in there anymore. Everything's a dollar and a quarter. Okay? So let's get that straight from the get-go. All right? And I want to talk about Five and Below. Just so happens the other day I had to take a trip out to the Mills Mall, the Forgotten Mall. Oh well, you know I'm Pittsburgh's forgotten son for some of the media in this town, so I might as well say it's the Forgotten Mall. It's the mall really nobody goes to anymore. They only go to the outdoor businesses, the gallerias, the indoor parts all a mess. You know, of course, all the big stores that were in there, they all laid an egg and went out of business or something like that. Brick and mortar indoor malls are just few and far between. There's a few of them out there. There's Robinson, there's Monroeville, there's Beaver Valley, there's, Westmoreland. Some of them have redeveloped themselves, some of them haven't. Some of them still make money, some of them don't. Okay? Well, I had to go out there to the Eaton Park and meet with somebody. Then my sweetheart and we decide we're going to go to the Five and Below and the Dollar Tree. Well, I'm sorry, dollar and a quarter tree. So we go in there, nice and clean, dollar and a quarter tree. Everything was a dollar and a quarter. Went into Five and Below. Now, grant you, I did find some stuff in the Five and Below that was $5 and below. But here's the part that bothers me. It says 5 and below. And they have things in there for $35, $40. How is that 5 and below? You got stuff in there for $7. You got stuff in there for $10. How is that 5 and below? And what I don't understand is why is no one, and this is why I say we live in a nothing society, why is no one complaining about this? This is deception, and this is false advertising. How come somebody hasn't called the Better Business Bureau on these people? Find out why they're deceiving people. Because they are. And I want to let you know this because they're going to put a 5 and below downtown in the old Kaufman's building, which I got to get a better look at today. There's a hotel on the Forbes side. I guess it's one of those luxury hotel. Okay. They're putting one in there. Burlington's moving in there. Target's going down there. That's all going on the first level and second level of the old Kaufman's building. The other side is expensive condominium apartments, of course. What else? There's nothing else downtown anymore. Okay? Offices are not there anymore. Well, we'll talk about that another time. And Juana says, oh, heck no, the item should be $5 and below. Absolutely. I think that's deception. But here's the problem. Just like COVID, just like everything else, nothing. Nobody bothers to make a phone call to the Better Business Bureau or some branch of whoever regulates these people and say, why are they deceiving customers? Okay? All right? Dollar Tree the same way. It should say Dollar Quarter Tree. They're deceiving people now. When you raised the price a quarter, people were complaining about that. I talked to the clerk there, and you know what she told me? She said, yeah, we get people coming here all the time and complain about that quarter. I had that discussion with you folks months ago when it started, and I explained to you why it happened. Because nobody knows. Because you know why? Nobody keeps themselves informed. Nobody watches the news. Nobody reads a newspaper. Nobody bothers to keep themselves informed. Because they're too busy worrying about, oh, you know what, Juana? You just read my mind, because guess what? I'm going to talk about that today. Thank you. Thank you very much. I have that topic coming up next. But anyway, okay, you complained about the lousy raise of the quarter. All right? A lousy quarter. Come on, a quarter. But you know what, though? Dollar Quarter Tree has shrunk the sizes of a lot of things in there. A lot of things have shrunken in size. So that's one thing I will say. Other than that, it's the same way. Same thing. Got some good deals in there, though. Always do. 5 and below, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. You really ought to be. When I saw that, I almost went ballistic. Because what I can't understand is you advertise yourself as 5 and below. And it was like that for a long time. It was like that for a long, long time. All right? But the problem is that, again, we're back to nobody cares. You complain, but you don't care. You complain to the wrong people. Go after the corporate people. Go after the board of directors of these companies that make these stupid decisions. Go after them. Don't go after the clerk that only makes $10 an hour. Okay? Oh, I'm wrong. I'm sorry. A lot of places are paying $15, $20 an hour. But we're back to this again. Nobody wants to work. That's really sad. Okay, today, I had to go downtown for some personal business. I had to go up to Grant Street. So I parked my vehicle because I had 4 other things to do today before I was to put the show on tonight. So I was out and about doing my thing. And I had to park downtown. I'm not even going to tell you what it cost me to park downtown. I was only there for not even 2 hours. It's a disgrace. You want people to come downtown. Now see, here's something that the restaurants can complain about. To the Chamber of Commerce. To the mayor. Okay? Parking is expensive downtown. All right? That's because everything is expensive downtown now. We have priced ourselves out of downtown so bad that nobody wants to go downtown anymore. Unless there's a special event going on, unless you have to. And I went downtown today because I had to. All right? The parking rates downtown are disgusting. And the city wants people to come downtown and shop. Business owners are taking a hit. Oh, we can't get involved. They're private contractors. Oh, yes, you can. Yes, you can, city. Oh, I'm sorry. Are you afraid that this contractor's going to go bye-byes? Is that what you're afraid of? Is that what's wrong with this picture I'm painting for you? Or are we going to go back to laziness? You just don't want to. You just don't care. Bingo! I got you. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And when I was downtown today, I had to go do something as pertains to my wedding. You know, a marriage license is $80. Are you kidding me? $80? Well, everything else has been expensive for my wedding to begin with, so I might as well just soak up the $80 and do it. See, that's what the city does, or the county. They have you right by your neck, and they just, and in your pocket, and they just squeeze you. Okay. See, this is my show. I could talk any way I want. They have you buy whatever, and they squeeze it. They squeeze it hard, and they squeeze it tight. They figure you need it, you have to have it, so it's $80. They don't look at the fact that I have to take out a loan to go downtown for a simple piece of paper, and it costs me over $100 for a piece of paper. That's between the cost of the paper that I had to go get and the parking. Yes. Yes, indeed. And that is my life story for this week. And that is the way I see it. All right. As I mentioned before, and I'm going to say it again, we have plenty to talk about tonight. A bunch of topics here. We're going to get into the real good ones towards the end here a little bit. What I call the main event topics. All right. Here I got an interesting scenario here about Richie Fitzgerald, our county executive. Richie Fitz, I call him. All right. Richie Fitz now is basically advertising about jobs. Rich, why would you waste your time? Nobody wants to work. Okay? When I was in the city county building today, there's all these signs up about how the city and the county are hiring. Don't waste your time. Nobody wants to work. Until Biden starts cracking down on these unemployment people that are fraudulently collecting benefits and don't want to work. Get them out there. Get them working. Okay? But Richie Fitz, that's the way I see it tonight about that. Next. Okay. I'm getting a little tired of these peace rallies. Prayer and peace. Prayer works. Yeah. Peace works. It's not working in Pittsburgh. We have violence every day in our communities. The mayor's house got shot at. Okay? All right? We're going into Raleigh, North Carolina, where they were firebombing and throwing bricks at the mayor's house a couple years ago. And the police chief, on the other hand, she had to resign because they were firebombing her house, too. It got so bad, she had to have the National Guard at her house. Okay? You want to stop the violence? I got a solution to your problem. But we're too busy worrying about plastic bags, City Council. What, you want to come up with some job training program that's going to stop the violence? Is that what you want to do? Ricky Burgess, you want to come up with, stop pulling over people for tickets? Is that your solution to this problem? I have a solution to the problem. Call in the National Guard Gang Task Force in Washington, PA. Call in the FBI's Gang Task Force. Break up some of this stuff, and you'll see the results of it. Oh, I know. That's too much work. It's laziness. We're worried about plastic bags. Well, we got shootings going on in our city. That's the way I see it tonight on that. State doing, oh, here, I got something for you. Somebody I know decided to take a drive down to Washington, PA. It turns out that they were in a construction zone. So they're in the construction zone, and what happens is they end up speeding, going a little over the, well, I wouldn't say a little over the speed limit. They went about 14 miles over the speed limit. But there was no state police car sitting there. You know, normally you have a state police car or somebody undercover. Was nothing there, they said. Well, apparently here, and here's something I want to bring to your attention. I want you to know that the state police are being slick. And you want to know how slick that they have become? They're now put up speed thing. You know, like the monitor things that they have at the turnpike when you go through and you have to pay a ticket. You know, your ticket for your tolls. They're using the same thing now in construction zones, so the state cop doesn't have to sit there with a speed gun or even go after you. They send it to you in the mail. The state police has now decided to use snail mail to send you a warning about you speeding in a construction zone. You know why? They don't have enough state police car. They don't have enough state police. Why? Because nobody wants to work. There we go. Nobody wants to be a state police officer. Nobody. Isn't that interesting how this all ties into everything? Isn't that interesting? Yeah, it is. That's the way I see it tonight. City firefighters living outside the city. Now they want to, you know, I always say this. It's called, back in the day, we used to say monkey see, monkey do. But you got to watch what you say anymore because people get offended. So, you know, copycats out there. Well, now first it was the city police. Now it's the firefighters now. They want to live outside the city. Oh, the police are allowed to do it, but why can't we? Oh, hiring is down too for firefighting and for firefighters, paramedics, and the police in the city of Pittsburgh. Nobody wants to work. Nobody. And that's the way I see it tonight. All right. We're going to get started here on our main topics, but Hampton Pizza Shop had to close down. It just opened up. Hundreds and hundreds of customers. Beautiful. It's only been open for 2 weeks, and now it had to close down. You want to know why? Can't find any help. Nobody wants to work. Everybody's lazy. That's comments are, that's terrible. And it is. It's bad. Nobody wants to work. The teenage kids now, they don't even want to work. Why? Because it's parenting. Back to that old adage again. It all adds up. Back in my day, when I was young, you couldn't even find a job. If you were lucky you got one, it was great. Now, these kids don't want to work. They don't want to participate in sports. Little League baseball leagues are falling apart because they can't get kids. They're worried about being on social media. They're worried about being on TikTok. TikTok. They're worried about exposing their bodies on there. They're worried about if they can score on a date. They're worrying about what they're gonna, who they can impress next. And what's it all boil down to? Bad parenting. When I was 16 years old, I went out and I worked. I volunteered when I was 12. back in the day, we knew we had a good work ethic because we were brought up properly. And I'm not saying everybody's like that. But there are a lot of parents out there that just don't care about what their kids do. I was on my way home tonight, and I'm going to just say this briefly. And I was listening to one of the competition stations. I was listening to one of the talk radio stations. And a certain host brought up about kids selling drugs and how parents know kids are selling drugs, and it's probably true. I don't know. They know they're selling drugs, but they won't do anything about it. They know they're taking drugs, and they won't do anything about it. They know they're not working, and they won't do anything about it. You know, you ever hear of this old adage, the minority? There's a minority of people out there who are bad parents. There's a majority of people out there that are probably good parents. But now it's in reverse. There's a majority of parents that are terrible parents. And there's now the good parents have become the minority. It's the way I see it tonight. I'm not going to go any further, and I don't have enough time. And I've talked about this numerous times anyway. But sad to hear about the Hampton Pizza Shop Minios. It's really sad. Put all that money into this business, opens it up, and voila, nobody to come and help. That's what's going to happen to these businesses downtown that I said was boneheads earlier. Go ahead, open up another business. Go ahead, open it up. I got people I know that have been in business for 50 years, and they're working 20-hour days because they can't get help, and they're shutting it down because they're too old and too worn out to do it. They've done it for too long. Homeless tents. You know what? It's really bad. It's disgusting. Downtown, right at Fort Pitt Boulevard and the Smithfield Street Bridge, there's 2 tents set up there. 2 tents. Now, you know what? I want to invite everybody to just take a tent and pitch it up downtown on a street somewhere, bring out a little grill, do your little thing there, block up the tent, bring your family down there, have a big party and swing all over the streets, block up the streets, obstruct the throughway on the road, and obstruct the sidewalk. The city council in Pittsburgh is worrying about plastic bags. But we have a homeless tent, 2 of them, homeless tents, at Smithfield and Fort Pitt Boulevard. And I've seen them there for almost a year now. A homeless tent down on 6th Avenue, right by the Duquesne Club. You know, I feel bad for somebody who's a member of that club. They have to walk out and take a look at that. Has the city bothered to clean it up? No. We're worried about plastic bags. We're worried about our children of the future who we don't parent properly. Fix the kids now. Worry about them the future later. Okay? I don't see city council. And you know what's interesting? When the next election comes up, why don't you take what I'm telling you and take it to the polls and vote them out? Why don't you do that? I have a city councilman up here, and I'm going to be blunt. And I tell it like it is here. I don't leave nothing out on this program. You know that, and I know that. He's useless. He only worries about Southside. Doesn't care about anybody else. Because if he did, he would have done something about some things. All right? That's the way I see it tonight. About the homeless tents downtown. We're worried about plastic bags, City Council. Plastic bags. All right. I have a few more things here before we get into the main reason tonight's show. I have some real key topics that we're going to talk about tonight. I have 3 of them. Okay, nobody in this town has the balls to do it but I do. All right, next. All right. If you're, I want to put you tonight in the chair of the President of the United States. Why in the world, Joe Biden, would you put our country back into a useless organization like NATO? And I said earlier when I blasted you about how Donald Trump took us out of NATO, and that was the best thing we could have done. NATO has given nothing to this cause. Nothing. Countries have put their troops out there, got their airplanes ready to fly, but I don't see any dollars coming our way. The United States is flipping the bill for this war. So Joe Biden, or Mr. or Mrs. President, if you're out there tonight, because I'm putting you in the seat of the president, was making the decision to go back into NATO helping our country. No. Why? Because they're useless. They've always have been useless, NATO. All right? Useless. And we're back with NATO. Once again, let's say, for instance, and it could happen the way Biden's going right now, Trump could get back in 2024. I wouldn't put it past this country. They did it once, they'll do it again. But one thing I'll give Donald Trump, he took us out of NATO. And now here's the result of it. We're back in NATO, and they're not doing anything to help the United States with Ukraine. And let me ask you this question, too. NATO, let's say we were to get into a war with Russia or North Korea or any of those places. You're going to help us out? You didn't help Ukraine out? What? Oh, I'm sorry. You put troops around the border that are doing nothing. Nothing at all. You're not helping refugees. You're not helping anything. You're just sitting there. Okay? Oh, but you want the United States to do it all. That's what NATO does. And then you get the NATO chief, he comes on, you don't even know what he's talking about. You can't understand him because you don't speak English. And he comes on and he goes on and on and on about how NATO's doing this and NATO's doing that when NATO's doing nothing. It's the way I see it tonight. All right. Let me ask you this question, too. We're going to get back into the Biden-Trump thing. When Trump was president, everybody's 401k was great. Our economy was good. Everybody went to work. Biden comes in, nobody wants to work. Can somebody please explain that to me? What, you don't like Biden, so you don't want to work? But you like Trump, so you want to work for him? Seems pretty obvious. So I guess President Trump has to come back in 2024 because Biden can't clean up this inflation. And you know, I said something to the Biden administration when they were in town here that they should have hired Bloomberg. They should have hired Bloomberg as his economic advisor. Mike Bloomberg. I wanted him to be president. You want to know why? Oh, no. He's a rich businessman like Trump. There's a difference between Bloomberg and Trump. Bloomberg was poor before he became rich. See, people have a bad habit of opening up your mouth and sticking your foot in it and you don't know what you're talking about. Okay? And these are the people that I come across. Oh, no. Bloomberg, no, I don't want that guy. He's rich. But he was poor before he was rich. And he understands it. He was mayor of New York. He got everybody in New York health care. He helped the welfare program. He helped mothers. He helped poor families. He built affordable housing. He had to clean up Rudolph Giuliani's mess as mayor of New York, the biggest city in the world. And he had to fix it, and he did it right, and he did it his way. And what did everybody do for president? You didn't want Bloomberg. He's rich. He got all kinds of money. Oh, but did you look at the facts of the matter that he grew up poor? And he became rich through hard work. Trump was handed his money. That's the difference between them two. And nobody like Trump works for the poor. Okay? He'll work for the working people, but it won't work for the poor. There's a difference between the poor and working people. All right? But Mike Bloomberg would work for the poor. I was in North Carolina in Raleigh back in 2020, right before COVID. Okay? Right before COVID hit. He was campaigning for president. Primary was coming up. I saw his coach bus down there. He got the endorsement from several different organizations in North Carolina. Okay? If Mike Bloomberg, if Joe Biden would have did what I told him to do, and that's bring on Mike Bloomberg as his economic advisor, we wouldn't have the inflation problems we're having right now. We wouldn't, because Mike Bloomberg knows what he's doing. He knows how to. He owns Microsoft. Okay? And he owns some other corporations. But he worked his way up from being poor. He lived in a poor neighborhood. His family had to work double jobs. Parents, or his mother, had to work several jobs. They were poor growing up. Okay? Look at the facts before you, oh, well, he got money. So what? He's one of the best economic people in this world. That's why he has his own economic channel where he talks business. Because he knows what he's doing. And he's not like Trump. He hasn't been bankrupt 80 times or whatever. Trump's been bankrupt more than I got in a pairs of socks. He's been bankrupt. Okay? But Donald Trump tells it like it is, boy. Yay, yay, yay. Acts like a third grader when he talks to everybody in the country. That's my president. Yay! I'm losing my personal freedoms. You know what? I still haven't gotten an answer from anybody that can tell me what personal freedoms they're losing. Oh, the Democrats in the election commercials want to take away your gun rights. No, they don't. You lie. Nobody's personal freedoms are ever getting taken away because it's in the Constitution. But we're all busy getting high, and we're all busy getting drunk, and we're all busy partying, and we're all busy fighting with police to understand that. It's the way I see it tonight. All right. Now we're going to get into the heavy hitters here of topics tonight in our last half hour. I know you've been waiting, but we're going to get into it now. I happen to live in the community here where the shooting happened about a few days ago down the street here from where I live. Since the day I moved in here, and since the time that up to now, I've been complaining till I'm blue in the face to the police. The police put a beat cop on Warrington Avenue. And I want to tell you this right now, and this is the honest to God's truth. That shooting wouldn't have happened if there was a beat cop walking on Warrington Avenue as I had suggested, and numerous other people had suggested in this town, because I had been going to the community meetings for a long time. And you want to know what the Zone 3 police do? They come down to these meetings. Ha ha! I'm meeting with the community people. What are you doing to clean up the community? Nothing. I pleaded with Councilman Kraus, pleaded with 311, pleaded with the police station, pleaded with Bruce Kraus about getting a beat cop or two on Warrington Avenue every night from 6 to 6 a.m. And what has Zone 3 done about it? Nothing. All they tell me is, oh, we don't have enough manpower to do that. Why? Because we're too busy worrying about the South Side. Why? Because nobody bothered to put down what was promised by Billy P. before he walked away. Okay? Nobody bothered to say anything at all about putting the new police station down on South Side, right there on 18th Street, where the old Zone 3 used to be, and 50 cops, 24/7 down on South Side, take care of things. Zone 3 could worry about Allentown, Mount Washington, Brookline, Beachview, whatever. Carrick. More important things to worry about than drunks urinating on the South Side. And let me tell you this, South Side has its problems. Okay? That's right, Juana. It is awful. 5 years I've lived here. 5 years. Now, the last couple of years and before COVID, I was going to the community meetings. I pleaded with these community cops. I said, can you please put a beat cop on Warrington Avenue? I told you tonight I was exposing some people. And this is it right here. This is the start of the 3 things I'm talking about tonight. This is number 1. And I waited until now because I wanted everybody to understand this. Okay? If you live in the city of Pittsburgh, your own cops don't even want to live in the city of Pittsburgh. They want to live outside the city. That's pretty sad. You know, most cops, they don't mind living in their communities. Okay? And I got some news for you today. I got some breaking news for you. Because there's a lot of you out there who don't watch the news, who don't read the newspapers, who don't listen to the radio. There's a lot of you who spend too much time on TikTok and whatever else you're doing, and you have no idea what the world's about. Ed Gainey, Mayor Ed Gainey, said he was going to put together committees to evaluate every department in the city structure. Police, fire, EMS, housing authority. He hasn't gotten to that yet, but he has a committee out there. I can't wait to see what that's going to be. All right. Well, I've talked about this before, and we'll talk about it another time, and not tonight. All right. He's got committees for everything. They're out there evaluating. And you saw what happened when the salt trucks had problems. That was one of the committees. They made Mike Gable, who I like Mike Gable. I used to live near him. We were friends until he screwed over another buddy of mine, and I had to cuss him out at his other job to get him to do something. All right? My friend who lives in Morningside, and I'm not going to mention his name, he is providing a service for the youth. His baseball field was a mess. Mike Gable wouldn't fix it. Mike Gable wouldn't make the field adaptable for play. Mike Gable wouldn't do anything about it. So I was down at the PPG Paints Arena where Mike Gable has another job. And I ran into him. And he was helping me get to my seat because I was down there to see Hall & Oates in 2018. All right. So we're on our way down to my seat. I said, Mike, I want to talk to you about something. And he goes, what's that? I said, how come you're screwing my friend? He said, what are you talking about? I said, he's puts in paperwork. He's spoken to you directly. You're screwing my friend. Why are you doing that? Oh, I don't. At the time, he was not the parks or the city works director. He was parks director, which this involves. Then he became in charge of the public works entirely, which this involves. Very good at what he did as parks director, but then when he took over as public works director, forget it. Forgot where he came from. So I said, Mike, I says, you're screwing my buddy over. I don't appreciate it. And I cussed him out. Within a week, that field was fixed. Here's a guy that's doing service to the community of his own time, helping to get kids to play baseball and softball and stuff like that. And you can't fix a field for him? So this is why Ed Gainey is doing this, so he can get familiar with what's going on with his, that's like you're taking over a company, but you don't know what's going on, so you have to send people out to do things. I understand that. So Ed Gainey formed some committees to go out and do all this. Well, guess what? The committee came back about the police and recommended Scott Schubert be fired. Fired. And I've been a victim of the police. In 2017, I scootered over to PNC Park. I went over to see a baseball game. I've told you the story a couple times. I'm going to tell you it again. I went over. I'm coming across a crosswalk up on Ross Street by the old jail. And I had a city cop behind me crossing with me in the crosswalk. Okay? This car comes around the corner and almost hits me. So I turned around, I said to the cop, I says, or this city cop, I said, are you gonna, get on the radio, call your boys and see if they can track this guy down and give him a ticket or have his car towed or whatever for almost hitting me? You know what he said to me? I was in court today. I can't do that. You have to call 911. I have a motorcycle parked in front of my building. It's a nuisance. It's been parked in there. Has no insurance, no state inspection stickers, no registration, nothing. I've made phone calls to the police across the street. Guess what? Nothing. I've called 311, nothing. I even know a detective over there personally, nothing. I know a couple officers over there because of some situations I've had here, nothing. And this is why the city police are in the situation they're in right now with the public. A car was parked in front of our driveway in the front. Emergency vehicles couldn't get in there. I had two sergeants walked right past it coming from the local diner. I said, aren't you going to give this truck a ticket that's obstructing our driveway? Oh, that's parking's problem. Sergeants from Zone 3. Is this the way the city police is supposed to behave? Call 911, call 311. Call 911, call 311. I have a guy that's a guest of a tenant in this building that verbally harassed me. It almost sounds like housing. When I have a problem, they say, call police. I have a problem with a tenant. Call police. You know what the police department tells you to do? You could see a cop, and I said this once, and I made this scenario because it probably would be true. There would be some woman getting assaulted, and a cop would walk by, walking back from the diner, and the woman would scream for help. And you know what the cop would say? Call 911. That's what the cop would say. Because that's all the cops tell you. Call 911. I can't do anything. Call 911. I flag you down out there, tell you there's a crime going on. Oh, no. You got to call 911. That's why Scott Schubert's getting fired. That's why it's been recommended by this committee. The shooting that happened, not once, but twice at the same location, could have been avoided if we would have had a beat cop on Warrington Avenue. Like I suggested. But look at the excuses I got. Call 911. Call 911. Call police. Call 911. Housing tells me call police, call police, call police. They don't do anything. Management don't care. Downtown doesn't care. I'm waiting for the mayor's committee to see what they come up with this now. Okay? They gave the police recommendation. Fire Chief Schubert. You're fired. Call 911. Am I right? A woman could be getting assaulted right outside by a man. Oh, excuse me, officer. I'm getting assaulted over here. Oh, I can't do nothing. Call 911. Music blasting at 3 o'clock in the morning. What, somebody getting out of the police car at Zone 3 can't hear it? No, I got to call 911. 911. Someone in a bar, nuisance bar down the street here, parks their car in front of the driveway at the apartment building. Ambulance can't get in. Call 911, call the police. Police comes down. He walks down from the station. Instead of towing the car because you don't know who it belongs to, or putting a ticket on it and towing it away, he walks into the bar and goes and looks for the person. Person comes out and moves the car. And that's the truth. I'm not lying to you. I'm not here telling stories. That's the way I see it tonight. Next, I want to talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I know what you're saying tonight. Ralph, this isn't your sports show. You got the wrong show. No, we're talking about something different here. Okay? We're talking about the greatest organization in NFL history. They're supposed to be top-notch. The Rooneys are the greatest. The Steelers are the number one greatest organization in the world. Two of your greatest players that ever played for you, and you screwed them. You stuck it up their ass on the way out the door. Troy Polamalu and Ben Roethlisberger. Have you seen the latest reports? Ben Roethlisberger was pushed out. He was pushed out. It was so bad, he had to do his press conference from his house. He didn't even want to be in the office. He didn't want to be around the Steelers. Polamalu, on the other hand, he didn't even want to be around the Steelers at all after he retired. They pushed him out the door. Real bad. There was distaste between them and the Steeler organization now. The Steelers pushed Ben out the door. Thanks, Ben. Thanks a lot. Push you right out the door. 18 years of all the abuse and ruggedness and your body getting beat up, the injuries and everything. And this is the thanks that he gets. Now, I understand he's had some issues. I understand he walked around town like his doo-doo didn't stink for a long time. I understand he did some things that were inappropriate. He's done some things to rub people the wrong way. I understand that. But here's a guy who resurrected himself. He got married. He got in with the Lord. He's a born-again Christian. He helped the Steelers do what they're doing right now. And he saved Mike Tomlin's butt because Mike Tomlin wouldn't be where Mike Tomlin is without Ben Roethlisberger. Because Mike Tomlin's the luckiest guy in the world. He inherited a quarterback, a franchise quarterback. And now this year, he's not going to have one. because the Steelers ran him out the door. Okay? Last year, he had to play with a bad offensive line, and we still went to the playoffs. That's the power of Ben Roethlisberger. So, Mike, what are you going to do this year when you don't have your franchise quarterback anymore? But I want everybody to think about this. This is the number one football organization in the NFL. Everybody's supposed to look up to the Steelers. They're the greatest. They're the best. Oh, the Rooneys. Oh. And look at what they did to Troy Polamalu and Ben Roethlisberger. And people were saying to me today, because, I get out and about and I talk to people. Oh, it's business. It's business like anything else. Now, we're going to go into my next topic, which we're going to finish the night out with. Greed. Greed. And you know what? You're not going to like me for this. But I think everybody in this country is greedy. And don't deny it. Everybody's greedy. Everybody. I watched a movie called True Believer. I'm a James Woods fan. I liked a lot of his movies. And he was a lawyer in there. And he was training Robert Downey Jr. before Robert Downey Jr. did what he did. He was a decent actor. Okay? And he played this lawyer that just got out of school, and he was clerking for this lawyer. All right? He was clerking for James Woods, who played the role of a lawyer named Eddie Dodd. Okay? You know what Eddie Dodd said? You want to be a good criminal defense attorney? Everybody's guilty. Well, tonight, I proclaim everybody's greedy. And you don't have to like me for it. And you don't have to say what you got to say because you know I'm right. Greed has eaten up people in this country for years. And it starts at the top and it works its way down. And what does our government do about it? Nothing. Because they're as greedy as everybody else. Greed. What's your thoughts on it? I want to hear you tonight. Come on. Come out of your shell and comment tonight about greed. Are you greedy? Everybody is. Okay? It starts with the banks, who are so greedy that they try to charge you fees for everything. They try to squeeze you for every nickel out of your pocket. The oil companies. There's no excuse for gas prices being $6 a gallon. Greed. Parking downtown. Greed. Apartments, $2,000 a month. Greed. Real estate going up. Greed. It's all about greed. And if you believe the movie Wall Street, when Michael Douglas says, greed is good. Really? Look what happened to you, Gordon Gekko. Now, I know this is really may not be true. I don't know. Oliver Stone's pretty good at putting movies together. All right? Greed. 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 And you should know, some of you should know what greed means because it rhymes with weed. And don't tell me you're not. I don't want to hear it. Everybody's greedy. Everybody. There's greed in their eyes, in their system, in their heads, in their lives. Greed. Greed. So greedy. My sister's greedy. It's ruined my family. Credit card companies are greedy. Loan companies are greedy. And you know what? Our government and these so-called FBI officials and everybody else, lets everybody get away with greed. They let everybody get away with this. Those of you who read the Bible, remember the part when Jesus walks into Jerusalem and sees people gambling and hustling and selling and prostitution and everything going on in his father's temple? And he starts tearing everything apart. Okay? When they scammers call you, greed. When people call you about this, that, and whatever, greed. Greed. When they use COVID as an excuse to raise prices, greed. When they use Ukraine as an excuse to raise prices, greed. Just like I asked everybody, what personal freedoms are you losing? And I haven't heard from anybody. So let me ask you this. Are you greedy? Come on, admit it. Are you greedy? Is there greed in your system? Is there greed in your blood? Is there greed in your head? Tonight, at the ending of this program, I have talked about 3 basic topics. Comments, that's so funny when you said greed rhymes with weed. Yes, it does. You know, that's like somebody who sells drugs. Okay? And I know someone, a family that I used to, well, I'm still friends with. My mom and I over the years have been friends, and we've had family friends. Well, we have a family who had a situation, one of our family friends, where someone in the family decided that instead of just selling drugs normally and making no good money that they were making to support their family, and hey, I don't care what you do with yourself, that's your business. However you make your money, that's fine. But this person, thank you, Juan, I appreciate it. It has been, thank you. This person didn't want to just sell drugs. He wanted it all. Greed. Guess what happened? See, he was selling drugs, but he was under the radar of the police and everything. Okay? Then he became in charge, which is what he wanted, so he could make more money. Greed. Guess what happened? He ended up in federal prison. After he was told by his family and friends, stick with what you're doing. Because what you're doing, you're still making money, you're staying under the radar. You become in charge, and you send out people to sell for you, and then people get in trouble. And then the law is coming to see you because these guys don't want to go to prison for you. Greed. You see the example of what I said? Greed. All right. COVID hits. Oh, man. You know, I got to raise my prices because of COVID. Greed. We got to raise our prices because of Ukraine. Greed. And those of you who are out there who have no idea what I'm talking about because you're on weed, you're smoking pot, you drink too much, and your brain is so fried that you have no idea what I'm talking about. You know about greed because it rhymes with weed. All right? And tonight, that is the way I see it. Just a few announcements. We're here every Friday night. We start at 8 o'clock. Some nights we start at 7. The only reason we started at 8 tonight was because I had other things to handle earlier in the day, and I wanted to make sure I get back in time, have some ample time to get prepared for the show. So we moved it to 8 o'clock tonight. Friday night, 7 p.m. We're here live on YouTube every Friday night. We're here live on Facebook every Friday night, the two platforms that we're live on. And you can subscribe to my YouTube page, Ralph Williams, please do so, or my YouTube channel, and my Facebook page, please like. The Way I See It can also be seen. I have a TV version on PCTV, channel 21 Comcast, 47 Verizon, if you live in Allegheny County, and also on PCTV's Facebook page as well. I have something to talk to you about in regards to that. Public access TV. Wait till you hear this story. I don't have time to talk about it tonight, but on the next show we will talk about it. Next week we will not have The Way I See It because I am getting married next Saturday. And Friday night I will be busy with preliminary stuff for my wedding, so therefore we will be back the following Friday. All right. 7 p.m. right here on Facebook and YouTube live. And also on PCTV, channel 21 Comcast, 47 Verizon Cable, and the PCTV Facebook page. The Way I See It is on a rotating floater basis. So check PCTV's listings on your cable or Roku. You can also catch PCTV on Roku, Fire Stick, Apple TV, and also, Roku, Fire Stick, and Apple TV as well. Also, I want to talk to you about tomorrow evening around 5 p.m. Sports Corner with me, Ralph Williams, and Smoking Jim Frazier. It's on every Saturday at 5 p.m. Before that, the Boxing Authorities with Luther Dupree, Smoking Jim Frazier, and Claudia Rosano. And at 6 p.m. is the Steel City Sports World. I believe this Saturday the schedule has changed. Don't quote me on it, but I believe that's the case. But if it is changed, I think I lead off with my show, Sports Corner, at 5 p.m. And then at 6 is Steel City Sports World. And then at 7 is the Boxing Authorities. They have another program on at 4 o'clock. All right. So that's for tomorrow for your viewing enjoyment. All right. Maulers play on Sunday in the afternoon. I was going to do Mauler Talk this week. I had some equipment issues and a few other things, and I couldn't do the show on Wednesday. Mauler's pregame. Game's at 4 o'clock. Mauler pregame starts at 3. And then Mauler postgame will be on at right after the game, 10 minutes after the game on Sunday as well. Maulers are 0-4. We'll talk about it on the pregame and some other stuff. Next, don't forget Maulers Talk on Wednesday nights or Wednesday afternoon at 4:30 p.m. unless otherwise noted. Also, don't forget Thursday nights at 8 o'clock. This coming Thursday, we will be talking, Mark Mancini and I will be talking sports on Blog Talk Radio, 347-205-9631 for you to listen to Blog Talk Radio and our show, the Black and Gold Sports Podcast. We will be back with sports this coming Thursday. Last night we talked about WrestleMania, Wrestle Talk we have. That's every other Thursday. And then on Wednesday night, if you'd like to really get into some Wrestle Talk, and you can even call in, Peter Blake has a show called The Sports Web. And we're on starting at 10:30. Myself, Mark Mancini, Peter Blake. And we talk about wrestling. And you can call in. So check my Facebook page. I'll give you the phone number for you to call in. 10:30 Wednesday nights, every Eastern Daylight Standard Time. I'm on that show now, national. Tuesday nights, 8 o'clock. This Tuesday, my Sports Corner show will be on at 9:30. I have Rick Curdy from the West Coast coming on, and a few other, and maybe one or two other guests. We're going to have another draft summit. Rick is from the West Coast. We're going to find out how the West Coast teams did with their. I might have another guest or two on from up around the Wisconsin area, and we can talk about how they did up there. Green Bay, Minnesota, and all them up there. Tennessee, Denver. Okay. And Rick's going to tell us how they did down the West Coast with the Rams, the Chargers, the Raiders, and the Seahawks, and so on and so forth. It's going to be an interesting conversation. So tune in 9:30 p.m. right here live on Facebook and YouTube, as always. I'm Ralph Williams. Everybody have a good night. Thank you for watching, and be safe.